Hey, coming at you with a little editorial mini. Today we'll be exploring establishing a film. How do you introduce a film to an audience? Well, there's many ways, and obviously as with everything, there are better ways than others. In film you have 3 acts. Act 1 you introduce your hero, Act 2 there's a conflict, and Act 3 it gets resolved. This is basic stuff and we all know it, but a lot more relies on Act 1 than you may think. As explored in the last video, when you enter a film there's a whole new world to explore. And not only do you need a main character to help you explore this, but you need to get to know this universe quite quickly. Not every film can be Avatar, we can't just hang around in Pandora CGI land for 3 hours and then get to the plot. Fantasy, or even just normal films sometimes, need to get you engaged with the world you're dealing with. Back in the times of old, when film was taken less seriously, filmmakers would put captions or cards, introductions introducing the film. Because at this point they were still exploring the medium and they thought, hey, let's mix it with literature. And you do still get this in some films today, especially a prologue, that's very common actually. But a block of text was thought to be cheap. The point of film is not to read it to you, the point of film is to show you. Show, don't tell. But yeah, very famous examples still do this and we love them for it. Does this look familiar? Yeah, this is like a minute-long text scroll, and yes, it's iconic and it's beautiful as shit, but it's not good. It's not. If you think about it, it's really not a good method of storytelling. I get it, Star Wars has a lot of lore, and especially the first film throws you straight into the action. What are rebels? What's the Empire? Who's fighting who? It does its best to explain, but it really doesn't give much context, and you only really start learning about the film when you're actually in it. Princess Leia, Ben Kenobi, these people give you your backstory. And this opening sprawl, whilst nice, isn't exactly necessary. I mean, I'm not calling George Lucas a genius, in fact I think the original Star Wars trilogy was actually just a mistake because the man's fucking crazy. But at least here, he's devaluing his audience. We can work these things out. Oh look, that guy in the big mask, probably the bad guy. The bad music did play. This ship is much more foreboding and bigger. It looks like it's a predator, like a shark in Jaws. Clearly these are not the good guys. So we don't need to be told these people are evil, and especially with a rebellion as well, we don't exactly have to know what they're fighting, because hey, Star Wars is pretty set in stone, black and white, good and evil. Rebellion are fighting for goodness and morality and yeah. But at the same time, you can't really blame Star Wars for it. I mean, this film wasn't exactly run-of-the-mill, was it? It was throwing so much at the audience of then that, hey, maybe they did need some things just spelled out to them. But it is a thing you see in quite a lot of films. And despite who you see do it, it is very amateurish. Now onto a short film called Wasp. If you haven't seen it, it's basically just a short film about a London council family who aren't exactly the best of shape. This is one of those films that throws you straight into the action. Fast shots, dark pacing. What is happening here? Is there action? Is there a chase? We don't know, because we're contextless. And going into films, we should be contextless, and then we learn. We follow this family run down the stairs, and we don't know what kind of film this is going to be. In reality, she's just leaving the house to go have a council fight. But we don't know that. But the way it's shot makes it look like a zombie film or an evacuation. Hell, even maybe a war movie. But then we follow the story totally silent, we don't need to be babied or pandered to, and we can follow it very easily enough. The confusion is momentary, but necessary because it feels natural. One of their neighbours slapped one of her kids, and so they're going to start a fight and tell them they can't do that.
She kicked me! She kicked me first! She took my Chris!
You let your kids run wild! No, you ain't fit to have them! I should call the social services on you!
Now why did we start here? Why don't we start with the children coming in crying, with her holding her face saying, I've been slapped? Well, do we need that? Nah son, we don't. It works because it is contextless. And if you don't believe me, it's exactly the same here. course, this is a war film and we know roughly what they're headed into, but it just throws us straight in. And as a viewer, as an audience, totally disorients us and it blinds us. It just makes us more susceptible and involved in what's coming next. In musicals, you're most likely going to find a I am song. The I am song is simply put a song which establishes a character's personality, a role in the plot, and all of their motivations right away. It can be more effective than setting up a character with dialogue, and it's almost always more fun. And you can get away with this because musicals are a strange little medium which can break a lot of rules.
You can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me feel angry.
You can literally just say the character's emotions because they're speaking to some omniscient narrator. They are speaking their mind through song, and it may or may not literally be happening. But it doesn't mind if it does because they're saying it to us, the audience.
There's no place like London. No, there's no place like London.
Disney are the best for this. Our main characters almost always get set up with these.
I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. I want it more than I can tell. When will my reflection show who I am inside? When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above? I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Let it go, let it go. When I'll rise like the break of dawn. Wandering, wandering, when will my life begin? Oh, I just can't wait to begin.
And it does. It tells us their motivations, it tells us why we should like them and follow them. And in a medium like Disney, it's hella fun. What if your film isn't a musical? How does a good director establish a film and ground it in a universe? Well, sorry to do it, but I'm going back to Miyazaki. The guy knows his Act 1 shit. Spirited Away opens with a family in a car moving to a new town. Now let's pretend I've never seen this film. It's a total lie, I love this film, but let's pretend. Film opens. We are presented with three characters, Chihiro, her mother and father. Now this story could be a family adventure, it could be just about her, it could be about the parents, for all we know. We do not know, because we've just been thrown in and there is no context. But consciously or not, if you pay attention to the camera, which is actually very important even in animated films, the camera sticks with Chihiro. Our reaction shots are set entirely upon her, and you don't really see many human angles of the parents at all. Chihiro doesn't want to go down it, but the parents want to, and so the shots sort of dehumanize the parents from here. Like, you don't see their faces. Chihiro, she knows what's up, and we know, uh-oh, we're in a fantasy Ghibli film. Something's gonna go down. The camera direction and just film intuition in general just leads us to know, boom, this is our girl. She is our lead character. And in Spirited Away especially, this is such an important point. If you don't care about Chihiro, then you're not going to be invested in any of the film, buddy. Chihiro is the one link to the real world you get in this film, so when you lose her, you lose yourself to the insanity, you lose yourself to everything that you find comfortable as a guy, as a gal, as a human, in the real world. To all the idiots who were following the parents as main characters, then, sorry to tell you, but you went wrong. You could have the best narrative going, but if people don't feel comfortable, then they ain't gonna follow. Yeah, and I feel that's important.